Hi guys, it's Brittany with Eating Elephants, and I wanted to take a little time right now at my desk. I'm at work, but I don't have like anything to do. So I'm going to make a quick video about my first 5K. So I have my next 5K this Saturday. Today's Monday. I have my next 5K this Saturday. And I wanted to make sure I got this video out before my next 5K so that I can tell you guys of improvements that I made in this second one. You know, it should go better than the first because I've learned some things since the first one. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about it. First and foremost, I was disappointed in myself. I was, and it was a little bit ridiculous that I was disappointed with myself. I was disappointed because I didn't run as much of it as I would have liked to. I would have liked to have jogged a lot more of the 5K than I did. And, you know, odds were against me in that regard for several reasons. My goals, well, I didn't really have a goal. I just wanted to run as much as possible. That was my only real goal. And I didn't have technique. I wasn't realistic about any of it, you know, so there was a few things that I reminded myself that made me feel better afterwards. And that is, and I have notes here, that's why I'm kind of looking down. So the first thing I needed to remember is that it was my first race ever. This was my first legit race, and I did not know what I was doing. I was intimidated, you know. So I was unrealistic in my expectations for myself. Second thing I needed to remind myself was that I was 2 months postpartum when this happened. I was still healing. I'm still healing now. I'm 3 months postpartum. To be up and doing races at 2 months postpartum is something to be proud of, something that I should have been proud of, but instead I was disappointed in myself because I didn't run as much as I thought I would. So instead of celebrating myself for doing that so fast after having a baby, not to say that that should be your goal. If you are 2 months postpartum and getting up and running is the last thing on your mind and you feel like you still need to rest and heal, do that. With Ricky, my first baby, I tore to high heaven. I had a horrible tear. 2 months postpartum, I was not going to be running with him, even if I didn't want to run with him, but after him. But yeah, I shouldn't have and wasn't running 2 months postpartum with Ricky. Every situation is different. Every pregnancy is different. Every person is different. Even if you didn't tear an ounce and everything was great and you're recovering great and you are not ready to run, I'm not saying that this is something that you personally should be aspiring for. But I should have been proud of myself to have been doing something like that. And I did have the okay of my midwife as well to do that. The next thing that I needed to keep in mind was that I had only been working out for like a month. I started working out very gently. I started walking very gently at around 3 weeks postpartum. And then a couple, 2 or 3 weeks after that, I started going to the gym and really working out. So I had only been really working out a few weeks. How much progress can you make? Especially because I was starting off so slowly because I had just had 2 back-to-back pregnancies and I was weak and I was recovering. So I had not, been working out like just very hard because I needed to be gentle on myself. I had only been working out a very short amount of time, and you cannot make progress that quickly. So I needed to keep that in mind as well. I had not been working out that long to just kill a 5K all of a sudden, especially my first 5K at 2 months postpartum. And the last thing I needed to remind myself of is that sure, hundreds of people finished before me, but also hundreds of people finished behind me as well. I was not dead last. I was nowhere close to dead last. There were several hundred people behind me. There were, and I did a 5K and I finished the race at the same time as 2 people who were doing the 10K. We crossed the finish line at around the same time. And so that was funny, So like I said, there were really elite runners there, and there were people who walked the whole race, and hundreds of people finished after me. Not that I was there for any kind of competition because I just wanted to finish the race, which I did. But, I was just down on myself. And I felt like I should have done better. But, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. So that gets me into my next thing. Why did I not do as well as I wanted to? And that is because I had no technique. I did not know running technique. I'm learning running technique now. But back then, I had no clue what I was doing. So I did not know about rhythmic breathing. I did not know how to breathe. It was cold outside, so that kind of burns your lungs as well. But I was just like, I sounded like a pig. Like I was snorting and just breathing horribly. I did not know how to breathe. And the reason I was breathing so hard is because I did not know how to pace myself. I was running too fast. I ran entirely too fast. I didn't start at the front of the race because the elite runners who are going to like kill it start at the front. So I started kind of more towards the middle because I knew I was going to be jogging some. I wasn't, and the very, very back was for people with strollers and people who were going to walk the whole race. So I didn't have the stroller. I was supposed to, but it was too cold to bring the kids out. So I started in the middle with my sister. And when they said go, or I don't remember if there was a horn or if somebody said go, but when we were supposed to go, I took off like ridiculously fast. And it was a jog. It definitely was a jog, but it was way too fast of a jog. I got out of breath way too quickly. And if you're going to run long distances, you have to go slow. You have to go at a pace to where your breathing is rhythmic and calm. If you're going at a pace where you are breathing too heavily, you're not going to be able to run very, very far. And I didn't know that at the time, and now I do. I should not have been as down on myself as I was. I wasn't down on myself for very long. Before I even left the event, I realized that I was being ridiculous. And I got in the car and I talked to my sister and I was like, you know what? I'm being ridiculous. This was my first race. I'm 2 months postpartum, yada, yada, yada. I don't know what I'm doing. Just started working out. So, you know, I wasn't like depressed for days about it or anything. But I just thought it was interesting that I was so quick to be down on myself more than proud of myself. And that is something that I should work on overall in my life. Celebrating my successes just as hard as I punish myself mentally for what I perceive as failures. So what I should have done is been really happy that I finished it. I did great. I ran some of it, you know, and I ran at different intervals in the, you know, I didn't just take off running and then never stop running and never run again. I ran in intervals. Also, I did not have a plan. I didn't have a plan for it. In this next race, I'm going to do, and this is what I've been doing in my runs just by myself. In my race Saturday, I'm going to run 2 minutes, walk 2 minutes, run 2 minutes, walk 2 minutes, and see how that goes. And that should go a lot better. I should finish the race faster. If I have the stroller, I might not finish the race faster. But if I'm by myself, I should finish the race a lot faster. And I know how to do rhythmic breathing now. I know that if I am out of breath, I need to walk because there's no use in trying to continue running if you are just incredibly out of breath. So once I start getting out of breath, I walk, and I'll be able to stretch that running time more and more as I continue to train, as I continue to do races. And I don't know if I've mentioned this, but my first goal is to run an entire 5K, like run the entire thing. And then my second goal, these kind of shorter term goals, is to run a half marathon. And I say run a half marathon, to do a half marathon, not necessarily run the whole thing. So those are my two short-term goals. And then one of my longer-term goals is to be able to run an entire half marathon. But that's a long-term goal. My two short terms, run an entire 5K, to do a half marathon and finish it in the time and run as much of it as I can with a plan and finish it in time. And yeah, so that's a quick, not as quick as I thought, but I'm chatty. But yeah, that's how my first 5K went. It was great. So glad I did it. And I'm going to continue to do them at least one a month. I'm doing 2 this month. I'm going to try to do at least 1 a month. And I'll keep you guys on the journey with me. I'm going to start talking about my health and fitness journey more on the channel because it's a big thing. Like, I've been working out a lot. I've been quite the gym rat. I have been running a lot, jogging a lot, walking a lot, several times a week for a while now. So it is something that I need to mention because it's a big part of my life, and I want to keep you guys up to date on my life. So I will talk about that more. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Leave comments down below. Subscribe, like, all those great things. Tell your friends about me. And, oh, let me show you Izzy real quick. Hey, Mama. Say hi, YouTube. Say hi, elephant eaters. If y'all haven't noticed, she is freaking huge. She has gotten so big. So you got your daily dose of cute baby. So I'm going to end it here. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Bye-bye.